Good afternoon, welcome to Market Wrap number 170. Stuart Williamson here at the helm. We do these sort of things just really try and share some information for people who are short of time and who would like to learn more about the market and what's going on in the UK in the main. Now this week I'm not at the APW Towers, I'm in Dubai. We're just doing some client information evenings where we share information what's going on, basically new properties, BRRR, refurbs, permitted development rights, mortgages, tax planning, SPVs, all that sort of stuff with our clients out on the road. We did Dubai earlier on this week, which is great, and tonight I'm driving down to Abu Dhabi to do the same sort of thing. And over next week into Singapore and Hong Kong. So if you're around, please do come along. Wednesday night in Hong Kong, Thursday in Singapore. So this week I thought the nature of the information evenings was, is it all over for the UK property market? And so during that talk, I did a bit of a SWOT analysis. So I thought this is what I'd cover this week, is a SWOT analysis of the UK market. Now I'll put my glasses on because I'm going to read from my laptop. So what is the situation in the UK? If you're not familiar with a SWOT analysis, it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. And so I'm going to run through those as to what exactly is going on from our perspective. If you like it, great. If you don't, comment. But it's just something for you to take away and perhaps use in your own world. So, strengths. What are the strengths we've got? I mean, historically, we've always had very stable demand in the UK, which is excellent. It's consistent, driven by factors like population growth. We know that there's 600,000 people a year being given visas to come into the country. That's the equivalent of Glasgow. So that's pushing it up. The country's becoming more and more urbanised. People like me, the baby boomers, we're not moving out of our big old mansions. We're sticking in them, so there's not enough property. And then finally you've got people just not building enough. The government built 130,000 houses this last year, I think. Terrible. Historical appreciation, people expect it to appreciate, so it will appreciate. It does go up. Normally, if you look at the last 50 years, we've always had that ongoing appreciation. Okay, it might not be as crazy as it was in the 80s now, but it's still appreciating over time. The rental market, very strong. The Zoopla report that came out today is quite amazing. Rents in Scotland are up by 15%. Okay, that's because of the latest law changes that have come into to a certain extent, in that they're capping rents, so people are increasing rents now to try and get around that. But also places like the Midlands, we're looking at between 8 and 12% rental appreciation. So it's a good time to be buying that. You've got lots of different sorts of property you can get into the UK. As I said, you can do conversions like PDRs, permitted development rights, new build. You've got HMOs. You've got a whole cross section, so you can spread your risk. And that's what people do, even going out as far as into commercial. So that's the strengths of the market. Let's look at the weaknesses. Affordability. High prices, it's not making it easy for people to get in. London and the southeast, the market has just about stopped, and according to Zoopla, it's starting to fall in price. So that's not very good. High interest rates. High interest rates compared to what? When I was a lad, I can't still remember that far back, interest rates at one stage were up to 12% plus. Now they're at 5.5%, 6%, and people are going, zut alors, what are we going to do? It's an issue, yes, and it's making it harder for people who are not used to the higher rates to buy. But they've about reached their top. Hugh Pill said last week that he thought that was the case, the chief economist at the Bank of England. So we're okay with that, I think. Falling prices. We have got falling prices in the southeast and the southwest because things went up too much. Okay? So they are going to fall. Maintenance costs. When I started off, I think it was 5 bits of paper to complete when you took out a buy-to-let. Now there must be nearly 200. Also on top of that, you've got the appreciation of all the things like putty, windows, doors. That's all gone up in price. One of our good supporters we were working with has recently gone bankrupt because they couldn't afford to refurb properties anymore. So it's a case of there are a lot higher prices, and that is one of the weaknesses in the marketplace. Affordability, interest rates, prices are falling in some locations. Opportunities. Diversify. Look at regional investments. Second cities, third cities, places that are smaller. Always focus though on the ties. transport, infrastructure, employment. There are the areas you will do well in. Has it got good transport? Has it got good infrastructure? Is the employment growing? If it is, there are good investors. And it said again in Zoopla that the Midlands and the North, because of affordability, the work from home has actually helped. So people can work from home now, and they're going into the office, say in Manchester, for 2 days a week, but living in cheaper places. You can live out in North Yorkshire Moors, buy a place for 150,000 and still be working in York or still be working in Manchester 2 hours away. So regional investment is an opportunity. Rental market growth. All these people coming into the country, the ONS is saying that potentially 5% of all rental appreciation is down to immigration. So if you're buying in cheaper areas, you're going to be able to get harnessing that growth. So that's an opportunity. Falling prices. If the heat has come out of the market, you can sit on your hands and wait. I've got clients who are doing that. I think they'll be waiting a long time. And as I said before, it's never the right time, it's never the wrong time. It's just time to get in. It may drop in the short term, but longer term it will go up. Look at new ways of investing. Build to rent. We're doing a fair amount of that at the moment. That's an exciting new portion of the marketplace. And interest rates will fall. As Hugh Pill said, it's a plateau now. It's not Kanchenjunga. Things are going to start falling, which is positive. And frankly, what are the threats? The threats, interest rates may not fall. It could be another global issue, and interest rates may continue to go up because logistical problems may be maintained. We might not get around the cost of all the fuel we're bringing into the UK. We need to get more self-sufficient, and people seem to have forgotten that sort of stuff. So that's a danger out there. Regulatory changes. In France, in Paris, they've capped the rent you can charge for a 2-bed, for example, at a certain level. And if they've done that, you can't go above it. So it's driving people out of the market. What if they do that in London? What if they do it in other cities? Airbnb. In Spain, they've recently capped that. You can't do so much of that anymore. So there's a lot of regulatory changes that might come in, and for some cases, for good reason. You look at Wales, you can't really get into a holiday market there because people have bought second homes. So there's a lot of things government could do which are bad and should do which are good, which might come into effect. Falling prices, we could start as route. I mean, if you remember, when I first started doing the market route, people were saying the market's going to fall by 40%, this sort of stuff. I mean, that's not realistic. That's not going to happen, but you could have, and we are having across the board, a general fall. Some areas by a lot, i.e. the southwest, places like Brighton, Bournemouth, but not in general is it falling all over the country, just in certain segmental areas. Overdevelopment. Manchester's a great place, but it has had a lot of building, and it is potentially overdeveloped. There's a lot of flats there that I don't think will ever rent for a real price because they're just not good quality. So overdevelopment is a threat. So there we have it. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Obviously I'm involved in property, so I think it's still a great time to buy, and I still am buying. You just got to be careful where you choose. Make sure you get a mortgage applied for and make sure you can get one straight off the bat. When you have the mortgage, then get into the marketplace. Look for different ways of doing it, i.e. PDR. Try and get cost-effective buy, renovate, remortgage, rent out. Look in areas. I was talking to a gentleman this week about up on the northeast of the Scottish coast, Aberdeen. Now, Aberdeen has always historically been a poor market for at least the last 10 years. But south of there, there's a lot of renewable energy going in, and a lot of money being spent on it. So it's actually quite a good place to do short-term lets, which I had never thought of. So just look into the market and see where it will work. There are some great opportunities out there. There are also some pretty big potential banana skins you can stand on. So just be careful. Okay, that's the market wrap for this week. I do hope you enjoyed it. Number 170, that is quite a long time. And don't subscribe if you don't want to, that's okay. But do comment if you think it's been useful at all. Thank you very much.